you know, a white family that's a man and a woman and has more than one kid. And every time I see it, I'm like, I don't want to be this way. But I feel like this small sense of relief. Like, I see you. I'm glad you're one of my neighbors. Because at the end of the day, again, it's not about whiteness. But at the end of the day, if things get rough, I don't know if my Hindu neighbor is going to fight to save the lives of my children. I don't know what vested interest. Like, I love this country. I'm willing to fight to defend it. A lot of people here, I don't think are.
So I'll let you explain. The question is, why is that you feel this way about seeing a lot of people of different ethnicities that are not white in your neighborhood, however they may be dressed? Why would that give you pause? Why would you rather see a white couple together, maybe walking their dog or jogging?
This is a question. Same as the first two clips. I'll ask you this.
A good friend of mine, Corey Minor, was able to interview Joel Webbin. Joel Webbin is an individual. He runs the YouTube channel Right Response Ministries, and he has been in a bit of a storm lately as it concerns Christian nationalism and his take on Christian nationalism, and his relationship with individuals like Stephen Wolfe. And there were some comments that he made during the New Christendom conference that caught a lot of people off guard. And these comments were taken as sort of borderline racist, if I can put it bluntly. And if you guys know me, I'm not one to pull a race card. I don't believe in that. I don't believe you should put a race card fraudulently or cry wolf when it comes to this stuff, because when it does really take the cake and when it really is something that could be considered racist, it's not taken very seriously. So I definitely don't pull the race card for just any old thing, right? But certainly when things sort of teeter on racism, I'm definitely going to raise the red flags and say, hey, this is not good. This is not normal. This is not normal speak that should come out of the mouth of a Christian. And so, as I said, Corey Minor, the Smart Christian channel, a good friend of mine, he recently interviewed him concerning his comments. And what I really appreciated about this interview is that Corey Minor didn't hold back. I remember I saw the notification that he was going to interview Joel, and I texted him immediately. I say, hey, Corey, man, you got to press him. And that's exactly what Corey did. And I definitely appreciate that brother for pressing him and not holding back, because he showed several clips that really desired some explanation, right? And there was one clip that I was pondering doing an interaction with that Corey actually had in his interview with Joel Webbin. And so it's not too often where you get to have someone sort of explain a clip that they said in real time, so to speak, right? So this is what's going to happen in my interactions, that I'm going to interact with the clip that I was sort of pondering doing from this conference and allow Joel to explain himself on Corey's channel during the clip. And let's see what Joel has to say and see if he sort of clarifies it in a more mundane purpose, or is he going to just own it? And obviously I will be critiquing his comments throughout this conversation, throughout this clip. And so with all that said, let's jump right into this clip. And you guys let me know what you think in the comments. So just a little context. Once again, Corey is interviewing Joel Webbin, and Corey just pointed out prior to this clip, Corey just pointed out that it comes off a little like there's this idea of superiority. You know what I mean? Like this idea that Joel and his camp shows this understanding of superiority. And that's sort of the almost the energy that I got from Joel when I was watching Corey speak to Joel. It's almost like this energy of like, I'm better than you. Maybe I'm being a little too hard, but that's just the energy that I got from him. It was almost like, I'm better than you, you're beneath me. And that's kind of the vibe that I got. And I think Corey might have got that vibe too. I don't want to speak to Corey, but certainly some of the expressions Corey gave as well sort of lean me that way, but I'll let Corey explain that. But nonetheless, that's what the context of this clip is. So let's get into this clip.
I walk around my neighborhood, and it's not that there are different shades of, white and brown. Who cares? No, like full, straight up Hindu garb at our neighborhood swimming pool that my daughter is asking. I'm trying to explain. She's like, you know what, like, and I don't even know what country I'm in my own neighborhood. I don't know where I am. It's, you know, I mean, the number of, when we go on a family walk, the number of Pakistani, Hindu, all these different, not just ethnicities, but religions with visible religious outfits on. And, you know, the same thing like when we go to Costco, I'm like, where am I? You know, and so like I mean, it's rare. Like we'll go on a family walk and every now and then we'll pass by, you know, a white family that's a man and a woman and has more than one kid. And every time I see it, I'm like, I don't want to be this way. But I feel like this like small sense of relief. Like, I see you. I'm glad you.
That's such a weird statement to make, guys. Like I said, this comment was in the New Christendom Conference. The guy at the podium is Ron Khan. His name is Ron Khan. And the guy that was just speaking is obviously Joe Webbin. And the guy in the middle with the blue jacket, to the right, to my right, maybe your left, is Stephen Wolfe. And I'm not a big fan of Stephen Wolfe. I think some of his arguments for Christendom is absolutely ridiculous. For Christian nationalism, it's absolutely ridiculous. And so, Joe, you heard what Joe Webbin just said, man. It just comes off very weird. It's a weird way of explaining things. And I hope you guys understand where I'm like, man, it's like borderline racist, man. It's like borderline racist, if not full-blown racist. It's as if he expects America to be all white, like Anglo-Saxon white, for him to say something like that, right? When he sees a white family with 2 children, he's like, oh, I see you. I see you. Like, what? Who the heck says that? That's such a weird thing to say. But I guess it's okay in the midst of his like-minded compadres or amigos, but it's just a very, very weird thing to say. And so Corey presses him on this. So let's see what Corey says.
One of my neighbors. Because at the end of the day, again, it's not about whiteness, but at the end of the day, if things get rough, I don't know if my Hindu neighbor is going to fight to save the lives of my children. I don't know what vested interest, like I love this country. I'm willing to fight to defend it. A lot of people here, I don't think are.
So you I'll let you explain it. The question is why is that you feel this way about seeing a lot of people of different ethnicities that are not white in your neighborhood, however they may be dressed? Why would that give you pause? Why would you rather see a white couple together, maybe walking their dog or jogging?
This is a question.
Yeah,
same
it's
as
a
the first 2
question.
clips. I'll ask you this. What about that? I'm struggling. I'll just go for it. So to answer your question, why do I care? Because I'm a Christian first and foremost, and I'm an American secondly. I think that we have an elite political and cultural class that absolutely hates American citizens, wants to kill us, wants us dead, wants no future for our posterity, and is importing the third world to America by the millions in order to destroy the country. So I don't. So seeing entire towns like Springfield, Ohio, taken over, you've got 500,000 in Springfield. It's 20, but you've got 500 total, upwards of 500,000 Haitians, which is 5.9% of the total entire population of Haiti. And Haiti, it's not that they're black. That's not the point. Haiti, the chief religion of Haiti is voodoo. They literally worship demons. There's cannibalism. Right? It's not who cares about eating cats and dogs? I care a little bit. I don't think you should be taking people's pets and eating them. And if it's duck season, go duck hunting. That's fine, but that's different than taking ducks out of the public park pond. But the bigger problem is not the pets. It's not the cats and the dogs and the ducks. The bigger problem is that in Haiti, they eat people. So importing the third world, particularly voodoo demon worshiping cannibals from the third world in mass, 5.9% of their entire population to America, designed intentionally because you want to utterly eradicate and drastically, significantly transform the populace and demographic of this country because you hate it and you want it to cease to exist is a massive problem. And I do not apologize for saying so.
Well, but that's not what you said, Joel. That's not what you said. You said that when you see a white family with 2 kids, you're like, yes, I see you. And you trust that your white family, that white family will fight for America more than, say, a Hindu family would fight for America. I would like to enlighten you on one thing, Joel. First of all, people still hold to traditions. They could be full-blown Christians. They could be Jesus-loving, Jesus-worshiping Christians. And a lot of individuals still hold to their traditional garb. They will still dress up in the traditional wear because that's where they come from. But that doesn't mean that they don't love Jesus. I know plenty of Jews. I know plenty of Black folks. I know plenty Filipinos. I know plenty of people, Arabs, wear some of their traditional clothing, but they love Jesus. And so that's a very ignorant statement by you, Joel. That's an extremely ignorant statement to suggest that because someone is in garb, that you can't trust them enough to fight for America. First of all, America is not America is besides the point. You said that you're a Christian firstly, but if you're a Christian firstly, then you should look at that, right? The gospel should be the number one thing. And then you bring up the Haitians eating the pets. All that is after the initial statement you made at the Christendom conference. So don't pull that in as if that is a part of your concern, because that happened a couple days ago, right? The whole idea of Haitians eating cats and stuff. That happened this Christian nationalist conference was months ago. And you made that statement. And so I guess my question to you, Joel, would be, I'm a Black man. And if you saw a Black man with I got 4 children, would you look at me and say, oh yeah, I see you. I trust that you'll fight with me. This is why that answer is preposterous, Joel. It's a ridiculous, and this is why you're getting accused of racism. This is why you're getting accused of being a racist. For you to say that. If you didn't know, there are many Black folks who served in the military and who love this country and who would die for this country, me being one. I served 4.5 years in the Navy. So according to your standard, I have to be white for you to look at me and say, hey, I see you. I know you'll fight with me. I'm a Black man and I serve my country and I got 4 children who are Black and Filipino. Are you not going to say, hey, man, I know that you'll serve my country. You will die for this country. You will defend this country. That is the most absurd thing that is such an amazingly dumb thing to say, if I could put it bluntly, Joel. It's an amazingly crazy, bombastic, dumb thing to say. And I can't believe you would say such a thing. And this is why you wonder why you're getting accused of these things. People are not just saying these things that these individuals are racist, or they say racist things because we just feel like it, because we're giving you false accusations. We're saying these things because it seems what's coming out of your mouth is very compromised. That's why we're saying these things, Joel. And you just said you don't apologize for any of it. Okay, fine. You don't have to apologize. But when you get backlash from the statements that you say, and when you begin to have people start stepping away from you, from the things you say, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Just take it on the chin. Just take it on the chin. And it is what it is. I mean, I just feel that it's a ridiculous thing to say. And once again, you get what you deserve, man. You get the backlash that you deserve.
When you say the statement about seeing somebody white or seeing someone in Hindu garb, because you don't think that they're going to fight for this country.
Mhm.
And then I think I had the clip. I wasn't going to just run a whole bunch of clips or whatever, but you kind of
The
equated that.
DEI doctor clip, you got that one probably?
I do.
Is that
I do have, which by the way was bad. I'm going to say, Joe, that was
It was
bad,
bad. That was
it
Um,
wasn't.
bad.
It wasn't.
And look at, he's so unapologetic about it. No, it wasn't. It wasn't bad. And you guys got to watch the DEI one. I don't think I'm going to get to that point of DEI one unless this part, he sums up this part really fast. But you guys got to watch the DEI one. The DEI one was basically suggesting that he would choose a white doctor over a black doctor because he feels that the black doctor was hired only because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It wasn't because the black doctor earned it, but he said the probability of that black doctor earning it is rather lower than the white person, because the white person earned it, but the black person didn't earn it because the only reason he got to that point of being a doctor was because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I was absolutely almost fell out my seat when he said that. It's so ridiculous, such a ridiculous statement. And then he's so unapologetic. And if you look at Joel's face is like, whatever, who cares? And that's what I was saying before at the beginning of this video. It comes off as almost like this superiority, like even I'm better than you. Who do you think you're talking to? I'm Joel Webbin. Like, that's how it comes off. It is very, very arrogant in his demeanor. Very arrogant.
Okay,
I don't apologize. We'll get to it if you have time. I'd love to get to that one.
So what's the difference between seeing somebody white versus, let's say, seeing somebody black, or somebody Hindu, or somebody Asian?
Well, the Hindu. So that's that question is a little bit mixed because there's multiple factors going on. But if we could just start with seeing somebody white who's wearing a baseball cap with his 2 kids, pushing a stroller and walking the dog, with his wife and doing a walk in the neighborhood, versus seeing someone who's Hindu and is wearing religious dress. The difference there is religion. That's the difference. And I don't know if the white family
you don't
is
know
Christian.
that.
And I
You
certainly
don't know
don't
that.
know if they're truly regenerate, as we've been talking about this whole discussion.
That's such a dumb thing to say, because once again, people who are Hindu sometimes keep their traditional garb even though they're Christian. You're judging and saying, hey, I don't know if they're Christian, but I know that white person Christian. What kind of stupid that's the dumbest thing ever, bro. Like, that's a dumb thing to say. How can you sit here and say that because someone is dressed in Hindu garb, then they're probably not Christian? You don't know that. The white dude that in his family, they could be a bunch of atheists. You wouldn't know that, but you're judging based off the exterior complex, the melanin in their skin, and saying, oh, because you're white and you got 2 kids, I know there's a Christian. Yo, that's the dumbest thing ever, man. This dude is saying some dumb stuff, bro. He's playing some straight up dumb stuff.
Truly Christian. But there is something to be said for Christian culture. And I do think that matters. Symbols matter. Culture matters. Pretense, even pretense, which can be a problem, at the same time, there is a benefit and a blessing to pretense. I think it was Chesterton who said that he said hypocrisy is virtue, or rather, he said hypocrisy is vice's tip of the hat to virtue, meaning that as bad as hypocrisy is, there actually is something worse. And what's worse than hypocrisy is coming to such a degenerate state as a nation and as a culture and society to where people don't even bother to take the time to perform hypocrisy anymore because there's nothing to gain by doing it. You don't even pretend to be virtuous. Vice no longer even tips the hat to virtue because there's no benefit in doing so. You're just blatantly, obviously, publicly wicked and evil. And so, I think of the coronation with King Charles. There was a lot of backlash, and I get it. England is not. It's like England, a Christian nation. Give me a break. What a joke. And I totally get it, and that's true. That is objectively true. That it is a joke at this point. And yet, at the same time, there is still something to be said for the pomp and circumstance, for the rituals, and even if they're false, for even in the United States, the fact that is Joe Biden a Christian? Well, we don't see the heart, but at the same time, Jesus says we can know a tree by its fruits. If I had to guess, I said, no way that dude's a Christian. No, I don't think he's a Christian. And yet there's still something to be said with 46 presidents now. And throughout the history of our nation, we have not had one president who did not at least profess to be a Christian. And I do not look forward to the day when Pandora's box is open. I remember when, Vivek, during the primaries, you had Ron DeSantis and you had other guys, and I liked DeSantis. I'm going to vote for Trump because he's our candidate. He's the best we got. I don't think he's righteous, but he's the best we got. It beats communism, but I liked DeSantis. Vivek, I like his rhetoric. I even, my personal opinion, I think he could be a good what is it? Jim
Press
Psaki.
secretary?
Yeah, press secretary. I think he could do that well. Just using his rhetoric and mopping the floor with liberals all day long. I'd love to see him in that role. But I don't. I didn't want him as a president of the United States because even though I know he embodies a lot of Christian virtues more than Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi, who both profess to be Christians, Catholic, to be specific. Vivek. I know he went to a Christian school, Catholic school growing up, but he's Hindu. I don't want America to be Hindu. It's 3 million gods.
Religion?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So I am not for white heritage. I'm for American heritage. And American heritage is not exclusively white. That's not our heritage.
But could it?
Right. America is not exclusively white. We know that. We know that America is a melting pot. But that's not what you said earlier, Joel. You said that when you look at a white person, when you see a white person, you look at them and say, oh, see, yeah. You tip the hat to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a weird thing to say, Joel. And you're a reform guy. You're a Calvinist, man. And I'm like pulling my little hairs that I have in my head out. This is an absurd thing, man. It's crazy.
It includes black people. It includes, there's a whole host of different ethnicities that are included in American heritage, but that's very different than taking Indian people and importing them by the millions in 2024. That's not Heritage America. And it's not because of a shade of darkness on a scale of pigment. You, Corey, would be darker than a lot of Indian people. And I'm glad you're here. You're my brother in Christ, first and foremost, and you're my American brother as a citizen. You, as far as I know, are a part of Heritage America. You can probably trace your family lines here in America further back than I can. God bless it. I'm glad you're here. And if you were my neighbor and we're walking down the street, so replace the white family in that example, and it's Corey Minor and his family, there's my neighbor. Glad he's in my neighborhood.
But you didn't say that before, Joel. Right now, you're backpedaling, bro. You're backpedaling on your original statement, bro. You didn't say that before. You said a white family with kids, bro. You didn't just say, like, if I saw a family with kids, no matter color of skin, then I would tip my hat to them and be like, hey, I know, I see you, because you were making a comparison of what is culturally American, right? That's what we're making an argument for, Joe. You were making an argument saying what is culturally American. A husband, wife, and 2 or 3 kids. That's culturally America. That's what you said. And you said you saw the Indian person with the whole Indian garb, and you didn't trust that they would fight for America. But you saw a white family. You specifically said white family with children. You saw them as favorable. That's what you said. That's what you said. So it seems to me now Joel is backpedaling on his original statement. That's what it seems to me.
It could rough, and Antifa comes down the block, in the middle. I'm glad that Corey's across the street because we're gonna go. We'll get the ARs and we'll go hand in hand and we'll try to stand our ground. That's the point. Was not the point's not about whiteness. But the point is about first and foremost religion,
never said
Christianity,
anything about whiteness,
nationality, not ethnicity, but national citizenship.
I think you make my point, but you're not hearing it because leave the ethnicity of the people alone and go back to what I was always saying, because these people, these Hindus or whomever it is, that's a field for you to go plant a seed and attempt to harvest.
Right.
Just say
Yes.
it that way versus leaving the. Here's how it comes across. Joel.
Go ahead.
There are too many Mexicans. There's too many Hindus. There's too many this. There's too many that. There's not enough. And do I believe
Can
that if
I say real quick, Corey?
Go
ahead. For the record, there are too many Mexicans. And what do I mean by that? I mean not Hispanics, not heritage Americans who immigrated from Mexico 150 years ago, who are more cowboy than a lot of white Texans are.
you mean those that want to actually be Mexicans in America?
But I'm talking about people who literally have their citizenship in Mexico and have crossed the border illegally by the million. There are too many Mexicans.
Now,
I think we should be allowed to say that. We should be allowed to say that's not racist.
So what I'm saying is, what I said earlier, maybe one issue is
What's killing me is that Joel is qualifying these things. Like, I get that, yes, we have massive influx of immigrants to come over, man. That's no doubt. We certainly have massive influx. So we are not to doubt that. But that's the way Joe say it, man. I mean, my goodness. It's so it just comes off as really rough around the edges. Like, I'm not one to bash to try to stop you from saying things, right? If you say it, you say it. But I do believe there's a tact that you have to have when you say things. And it's just mind-blowing to me. Like, I'm not with illegal immigration. My wife is Filipino, and she had 10 years of processing before she actually became an American citizen. So I'm definitely not for illegal immigration. I want people to go through it the right way, the right process. But I think there's a way to communicate that, right? That you're not for illegal immigration. And I would say that it's not the way Joel communicates that. Because as Corey just said, it does come off of this like, it's too many of these people. It's too many blacks. It's too many Mexicans. It's too many of them. We need more Anglo-Saxon white guys. You know, it just comes off like that. You know, and I don't think that as a Christian, as a believer, we don't want to come off like that. I don't think we should be coming off like that. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Your branding, your PR has got to be better, because the way it comes across, if it comes across the way you intended, you wouldn't have to come back and re-explain it in many cases. Not to the other side. There's some that's going to take you what you say left, no matter what.
Right. That's true.
I and we said this before here. Me as a black person, I don't want to see someone here with another nation's flag. This is America.
Amen. That's right. Amen.
Just like I can't go to another country and proudly represent America there. First of all, I would end up dead. I get that. But it comes across as though you're looking at their skin color, because the person in Hindu garb might be a Christian wearing Hindu garb.
That's
someone who looks this way. And so what your concern ought to be, or maybe you didn't say it this way, is that it should not be the color of that person. I'm concerned with these people holding Christian values. What you seem to espouse was someone holding American values. Well, wait a second. I thought we were trying to get to a Christian nation. Not just our traditional American nation, because our American nation is fraught with all kinds of issues. We want folks whose hearts have been changed. So
it's both. It's both. It's Christian first, no doubt. So if we're prioritizing, it's Christian first. It has to be Christian first. But it is American second. In other words, what I'm trying to say, so I'm post-millennial, you know that. So I really do believe, not just in the final return of Christ, his physical final return, but throughout the course of this gospel age, in real human history, before the culmination of all things, I really do believe, like a little bit of yeast working through the whole batch of dough, or mustard seed growing into an all-earth encompassing tree, I really do believe that the knowledge of the glory of God will fill the whole earth as the waters cover the seas, that we will... that Christian nationalism isn't just, a Christian America, but it'll be all nations being Christianized. And when that happens, I believe it'll happen. And even then, just for the record, that doesn't mean that a universal Christianity of the heart, meaning I don't believe that every single person will be regenerate, but I do believe all the Christians will be all the nations will be Christian, that the nations will flock to Mount Zion. They'll see the goodness of God's law word, those kinds of things. And I know we disagree, but just humor me for a moment. I do believe that. And when that happens, for me, it's a when and not an if, and I could be wrong, but that's, you just got to tolerate my bad eschatology, so in my eschatology, I believe that's going to happen. So it's a matter of when, not a matter of if. But when that happens, here's my point. Not all the nations will be the same. They'll all be Christian. So they'll be the same in that regard. They'll all be Christian and worshipers of the triune God, and have just laws on the books being legislated that come from the law word of God, the eternally binding moral law of God. But there will still be different cultural expressions. America will still be distinct from the Sudan, even if both are Christian. America will still be distinct. It'll be like, that's America, right? It's Christian, and there's cowboys and rodeos and apple pie. God bless America. And that. So I do think that matters. That's what I'm trying to answer your question. I'm not trying to be facetious and silly. I'm trying to answer your question. Christian first and foremost, yes and amen. That's the first priority. But then there is something to be said for national identity beyond just the Christian religion. The Christian religion is first, but beyond that, there are cultural expressions from all fine arts or certain artistic forms and certain cuisine and certain this and certain that, that do have components that make up a nation, that where you could have two Christian nations and yet they're still distinct. The distinctions aren't just religious. And what I'm saying is I like America, and I think that America's founding matters. I think its heritage matters. Its history matters. So first and foremost, let's not import by the millions people who worship demons and false gods. Let's start there, please. Let's start there. Secondly,
I say we should import.
I'm thinking that we have a lot of people who worship Satan here. The rabid abortion that we have, the mass sin that we see in this country. I don't think we need to import people that worship Satan or worship demons. We already have people here that worship demons. That's exactly why we need to evangelize. That's exactly why we preach the gospel. Joel he's saying like American culture, cowboys and rodeos and apple pie. First of all, I'm a black man that grew up in the inner city of Los Angeles. My America that I grew up in, the subculture that I grew up in, did not have rodeos, cowboys, and apple pie. So this idea that is what America is not correct. America is a melting pot of different cultures, different backgrounds. And so therefore, my America is not the same as Joel's America, because I grew up in inner city Los Angeles, and where he grew up in, I think he said he grew up in Texas. So it's not, and so we can come back from different backgrounds and still love America the same, because we appreciate the freedoms that America affords us, right? Gives us. We know we live in a country that is the leader of the free world, America. And so even though I grew up in Los Angeles in a different context, a different subculture, the whole nine, I appreciate America and I love America. I love America so much that I'm willing to serve my country. And so my America is not apple pie, rodeo, and cowboys. My America is cruising down Crenshaw in lowriders and Impalas and wearing an LA hat, going to Laker games. Like, that's my America. That's the America I love, right? And I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, so this idea that it's American pie, cowboy, rodeo, has such a narrow vision of what America really is, and I think that's his problem, and that's why he's made his original statements concerning white people per se. You can look at white people and say, "Oh man, I see you, and I know he'll fight with me," because he has such a narrow view of what America really is. He's a smart guy. He seems to know history very well, but I think his scope is very narrowed and very complicated and very, very frustrating, if I could put it simply. So I think Joel is out of line, personally. I think he's absolutely out of line to this. And so that's where I'm going to end the video, guys. But this is not the only clip that Joel has showed his butt, talking out of line. He's made some very, very concerning statements. And one thing I'm very happy for is that Dr. James White is probably the loudest voice, the most popular voice that's came out and denounced them for their statement and for this whole new Christendom nonsense. Dr. James White. And many people get on Dr. James White's case, but he has definitely came out and defended the cause. Like, you guys are not focused on the gospel. Like, he called them out. I don't know if you guys are on Twitter, but he's definitely going at them boys on Twitter. So I'm very thankful for James White. So yeah, I just think that Joe Webbin is out of line. I think he's missing the point. And while he may have some knowledge, I think his knowledge is very narrow. And so once again, I thank Corey for having this interview, and I love the way Corey pressed him. Corey did not throw softball questions at this guy. He pressed him hard, and I do appreciate you, Corey. If you see this video, I appreciate you very much. And so as always, guys, I want you guys to go watch it, the whole interview on Corey's channel, Smart Christian channel. And then I want you to come back here to the comment section and chime in. Let me know what you guys thought about the conversation. And as always, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell on the Gospel Truth so you don't miss any shows that are coming up here in the future. May God bless you. And may God keep you.